Good evening, folks. What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. It's good to see you. It always is. I hope you're doing well. Back to business. Today we've got two fresh tournaments over in Eastbourne and Mallorca. As always, we're going to go through each and every one of these matches. Today we'll break them down, see if there's anything we like as we go. Be sure to get your comments in, predictions, best bets, all that stuff. If there's anything I'll be going for personally, that will be in the pinned comments with the timestamps and pretty much anything else. Before we get started, like the video if you would, get yourself subscribed to the channel. If you're not, I'd appreciate that. If you want to support the channel, there's also a link in that pinned comments, or you can just say thanks by clicking thanks under the video. It's entirely up to you. Before we get into these, there's obviously nothing to recap because it's the first day for us. But how did we get on in the finals? Did we enjoy the finals? We had Medvedev and Bublik, and we had Carlos Alcaraz in Yuri Lehechka. I was very, very pleased that Alcaraz managed to pull through in that one. Cashed a nice little outright. I needed that. I really did. But you let me know. Did we enjoy the matches overall? Did we win? Did we lose? Did we just come close? And now that's out the way, we shall waste no more time. Just allow me to remind you, it is the first round yet again. So you know what I always say, keep it light, keep it simple, don't be going crazy. You just need to see who wants to be here and who doesn't. And we have got Wimbledon right around the corner. So, you know, just approach it with a little bit of caution, if you would. Now let's get it on. We'll start off over in London. So first off for us, we've got Bergs and Joao Fonseca. It's going to be a tough one, this. I couldn't tell you who's going to win this once again. I feel like every time I'm faced with these Joao Fonseca games, I'm forced to make a choice. I am more than aware of how good this kid is going to be. I'm more than aware of how good he already is. But there's something inside of me that doesn't feel right about seeing him at 1.5 against Bergs on the grass. You don't need me to tell you how good Bergs was over in Den Bosch. Got to the final before he got beat by Gabe Diallo. Had a quick turnaround, came into Germany, lost to Karen Kecmanovic in straight sets. We kind of expected that. I haven't really seen anything from Joao Fonseca, not only on the grass. You know, it's a very small sample size. We've barely seen anything. 0-1 this year, 2-4 last year. It's not only just that. I've seen nothing since pretty much March to suggest this guy should be 1.5, especially on the grass against Bergs. Now, you could use the argument. This will be the same arguments all week. Are they going to exert themselves before Wimbledon? Yes or no? I'm not too sure. I'm just saying I don't really feel comfortable taking Fonseca at what is currently 1.5, something like that, roundabout. This opened up around 1.67 on 365. It's now sitting currently at 1.50. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that tells you the tale. I do think this is more than a winnable match for Joao Fonseca, but I don't know. Seems to have... I feel like I've barely seen anything of him come clay season, and what I did was fairly, I don't know. I'm not going to say below par, because like I said, he's only young. I don't know what to expect from Joao Fonseca. I know every time we mention him, the same people like to come out and just give me so much shit in the comments. Last time against Jack Draper in the French Open, everyone told me how wrong I was and that it was Fonseca time and it weren't. And then even against Flavio Cobolli, we didn't have a solid pick for that. I did lean towards the Italian. There was someone in the comments writing full paragraphs, a full thesis on how wrong I was, and that Fonseca was going to do that, and he's top 5 worthy. And he didn't even win that. So I don't know, comment got deleted. Obviously, I've still got it screenshotted, but what are you going to do about that? You're going to get people like that, aren't you? For the sake of an easy life, I'll just say Fonseca probably should be winning this. But me personally, look, do what you want with it. I'm not going to touch it. I just don't like it. If he turns up and wins, fair play. I imagine you'll all let me know that he did. But Bergs 2.5, seen a lot more from him. Not only just on the grass, well, pretty much on the grass, yeah. I've seen more from him in Den Bosch than what we've seen from João Fonseca pretty much since the end of March. So I couldn't go with him. I couldn't. You do it that way, you will. You pick your poison. It'd be Zizou, Bergs or nothing. And then we shall move on to Dan Evans and Kecmanovic. Right? Bit of a dicey one to navigate. I'll admit head-to-head is 2-0 to Kecmanovic in this one. Not played each other since 2022. One on the hard court, one on the clay. Never played each other on the grass. Should make it a little bit more interesting. I've currently got Kecmanovic around 1.62. Sound about right? 1.6, 1.62. I'd say he should be getting this done. No doubt it could. You know, Dan Evans could pose a couple of problems for him, but ultimately I do think Kecmanovic is undoubtedly the much more trustworthy player. We are still in London. We are on the grass. Dan Evans will have the crowd. He may be a little bit inspired. 4-3 on the surface so far for Dan Evans, as opposed to 0-1 for Kecmanovic. That was in Germany, where he ended up getting beat by Fabian Marozsan. Look, tough one. I mean, getting Dan Evans around, 2.3, 2.4? I just can't take him. I've said it in the last tournament, I'll say it again, I'm kind of past betting on these Dan Evans games at this point now. He's still got wins in him. He really has. It's easy to look at this and say, yeah, Kecmanovic probably should walk it, but I don't know, man. Dan Evans just ain't quite done yet. I do think Kecmanovic, the past 2 years, you know, he's reached back-to-back quarterfinals in this tournament, so maybe that's going to give him that little bit of extra juice that he needs to get this one over the line. Is he going to get to the quarterfinals again? I'm not too sure. I would have thought he's got more than enough to get past Dan Evans. I do. He didn't play bad against Fabian Marozsan. It was a close game. He's quite nicely favoured to get this one done too. Are we that confident? I don't know. The lean would be Kecmanovic. Like I say, it's still the first round. I'm not picking it with much conviction. 1.6. I'm pretty sure he should be winning. Am I 1.55, 1.6 sure? Probably not. It would be Kecmanovic or nothing for me. Then we've got Moutet, Bellucci, Quinn, Halys. It's tough. You know, at first I looked at it and I went Quinn, Halys. The signs were pretty much pointing towards Quinn Halys, and then I'm seeing him. I've got Quinn Halys 1.7, something like that, roundabout. It's not even that, 1.6 to 1.7, depending where you look. They've played each other once before. That was 2 years ago on the clay. It went the way of Moutet, Bellucci, tiebreaker in the first, and 6-3 in the second. Look, Moutet, Bellucci, I mean, prior to this tournament, there was something wrong with this guy. He was really, really struggling over on the clay, and then even the transition to the grass didn't look too promising. He got beat in Birmingham, beat in Den Bosch, and then beat over in Queens. He did take a set in all of them losses. And then whether he's found what he's been looking for, or whether this is just the perfect surface for him, over in Eastbourne, he's managed to absolutely fly through qualifying. The level of opponents probably weren't saying much. Engel and Tseng 7-5, 6-1 and 6-2, 6-1. Yeah, absolutely pumped the pair of them. I think we kind of know what we're going to get when it comes to Quinn Halys. You know, he can serve well, serve really well, possess quite a lot of firepower. I feel like on a court like this, I should have mentioned at the start, you feel like them courts were quick last week on the grass. This one's even quicker. Fact. Even quicker. Just food for thought. If Quinn Halys can turn up and he can serve well, as always, there's going to be enough 3 points within that for him to, I'd say, keep it close. He's like, you won't even keep it close. He's a favourite. He's 1.6, quite favoured to get it done. Now, prior to this, I wouldn't have went anywhere near Bellucci whatsoever. But this could just be the little bit of run of form that he needs. You've went from not even winning a game, getting slapped up constantly. You're going back to Well, as far as I can see, the 12th of April, and he still hadn't had a win. And he's only just won 2 back-to-back ones now come qualifying. Is that enough for me to trust him in this? It's a very close price, 2.2. I'm not too sure. He opened up around 2.5, quite a decent chunk of money coming in on Bellucci. It's quite a contrast in styles too. I think Quinton Halys can be, I'm not going to say robotic in a bad way, but solid fundamentals, you know, good serve, good power. I do feel like you're probably going to get more from Bellucci over the other side of the net when it comes to, you know, somewhat navigating the court. He can be quite erratic, very aggressive. He'll come out firing or trying to come out aggressive anyway. Does tend to possess a somewhat erratic style. Prior to this tournament, it kind of went against him more often than not. I don't know, man. The speed could help him. The speed could really help him in this. He could be in for an overspot. He could be in for an overspot. I don't know. I'm not too sure. I don't feel comfortable taking Quinton Halys. He did open up at 1.53. That's currently sitting at 1.65. Like I said, there's people out there fancying a look at Bellucci. I'm not too sure if I do too. I couldn't talk it off it. I do think if Quinton Halys manages to stay strong behind that serve and it goes to a tiebreaker, I think Bellucci's fucked. He's been rather dumb in the old tiebreak so far this season. Just food for thought, of course. Alright, pick your poison, innit? Pick your poison on that one, folks. I suppose you could probably make a bit of an argument for Bellucci. Like I say, these wins have been few and far between so far, especially recently, 13 and 20 on the season, as opposed to 16 and 16 from Quinton Halys. He is quite a decent player on the grass surface as well, so I probably wouldn't be shocked to see Quinton Halys win this one, but if Bellucci was to win, I probably wouldn't treat it as much of an upset. So, I don't know. Anyone taking Bellucci either way, please do let me know. Anyone taking him for a set? There's a few ways that you could approach that. I'm not too sure if I'm going to touch it personally. And then we'll crack on to Fabio Marozsan and Lorenzo Sonego. Nice. It's another tough one. It's always going to be a weird one to predict. These have played each other just the once before. And it was at the start of the year. Australian Open, that went the way of the Italian. 3-1. Nice. Happy days. There was 2 tiebreakers in that before he hit him with a 6-1 and a 6-2. Good shit. Good shit from Sonego there. Both of them not really doing much on the grass so far this year. 1-1 for Marozsan and then 1-2 for Sonego, is that? Yeah. He's been beat by Halys and Zverev. He did manage to take that first set off Zverev the other week over in Germany. And he did beat Jan-Lennard Struff over in Germany too. Quite convincingly too. 6-3, 6-2. Happy days. As for Fabio Marozsan, he had that close match with Kecmanovic. And then if you remember, we took Thomas Mahac to beat him in the round of 16. And he done that quite convincingly too. 6-2, 6-3. I mean, look, just going off what we've seen recently, Sonego has not been in the best form. Not even recently, just all season really. 10 wins, 15 losses for the Italian. That's quite below par. Fabio Marozsan much better on the season. 18 wins, 15 losses in total. With that being said, even though Lorenzo Sonego, it seems to be in quite the skid of form, this did open up around 1.91 on Bet365. Now this currently plummeted all the way down to 1.65. That is quite the drop in my opinion. Like I said it at the start, it's going to be the theme for the majority of this, especially with these. I say, are they going to save themselves for Wimbledon? I don't want to sound bitter when I say this, but do either one of these really stand a chance at Wimbledon to a point where you go, I'm just going to save myself, you know, some way, rather or other? Fabio Marozsan never really done anything in this tournament. He's been here once before, that was last year, and it was a first round exit to Alexander Vukic. As for Lorenzo Sonego, you know, last year he at least made it to the round of 16, so maybe maybe that's just that little something extra that might see him over the line. Like I say, considering they're open, pretty much split down the middle, everyone seems to think Sonego gets this one done with ease. I'm not too sure. Like I say, with the current form of him, I don't think I could take him. And I can't help but feel like if I was going to take him, I've most definitely missed the price on that. Have I at 1.75? I could get it at 1.75 right now. It's quite tempting. It is tempting. But I don't know, man. I feel like the win against Ruff was decent. It was a decent one. Even the game against Zverev, it was a solid performance. Even though he didn't win, it was solid enough. He did take a set off Halys in the loss before that. And then even going back to the French Open when he was getting beat by Ben Shelton, he took 2 sets off him. That went 5. Would it be in the first round? Maybe just bite the bullet and go with Sonego and just pray that he can just get this one done. At the bare minimum, get past the first round and defend his points, if that means anything to you. But I would lean with the Italian in this one, but I'm not picking it with much conviction. I do know Fabian Marozsan is quite good on the day he can turn up and put in a blinder. But both of them can equally just turn up and put in an absolute stinker. So I'd just be careful with that while it's early days. And then wrapping it up, we've got Tseng, Davidovich, Fokina. There's no odds for this? No, yet there is 1.4 for Davidovich, Fokina. I'm not going to touch this one. Tseng is coming into this as a lucky loser. As we just mentioned, Moutet, Bellucci just fucking wiped the floor with this guy. Yeah, he really did. I haven't seen Davidovich, Fokina play since the French Open. Second round, he got beat by Yuri Lehechka. No games on the grass for this guy. So how is he going to deal with the transition? It's not really a way to know. I'm not too sure. Never really does anything on the grass. 0-1 last year, 2-5 before that, 3-3, 1-2. You get the picture. Nah, I'm not even going to risk it. You're just going off what you already know. 1.35 seems just a little bit of a price to pay for Davidovich to turn up here. How many times have you seen these lucky losers play absolute garbage in qualifying and then just turn up and surprise you for a round or two? You know? Admittingly saying, we say like Davidovich Fokina, there isn't up to much on the grass. Neither is this kid. 1-4 in his career since 2015. He tends to do the majority of his business over on the clay. It'd have to be Davidovich Fokina, just based on what you know. I'm not going to sit here and pick this one apart. It is a first round. You could sit here and go round in circles on games like this, and then it'll come to the day, Tseng will turn up and just smoke him in 2, and it'll make no sense. But we've seen that happen before. Diallo 1.4? Nah, maybe not. It's all over the place, this. 1.2, 1.35, 1.4. Nah, absolutely not. But I will be watching it. I will most definitely have a close eye on this to see how Davidovich Fokina turns up and handles the grass transition, especially on those super slick courts. But that's going to do us over there. We will head on over to Mallorca in sunny Spain. Got some decent ones here as well. Bit more meat on the bone, if you ask me. First off, we've got Alexander Muller and Roman Safiullin. Just no chance. I couldn't bet this game, even if it did. I'm seeing Roman Safiullin around 1.56. The head-to-head is 2-0 to the Russian in this matchup. One in 2023, the other one in 2019. Both on the indoor hard court, straight sets. The pair of them. Tiebreaker in each. Roman Safiullin's bang out of form, man. He continues and he remains bang out of form. This is what now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 game losing streak, dating back to the Challenger in mid-April. He could really do with a win. I'm not surprised Justin Engel beat him in qualifying over in Germany. And then even the game against Gio and Pesci Pericard, first round in Stuttgart. Now, we took Gio in that one. I did anyway. And I wish I didn't. Even though we got it done, it was one of the worst performances I've ever seen. But how he managed to win that, playing the way he did, is beyond me. Safiullin did kind of hold his own for as much as he could. Took a set. It was a very tight game. We all know how tough Gio can be on these very fast courts. tiebreaker, 6-3 for Safiullin and then 7-5 in the end. Looking better. You know, couldn't do nothing against Mensah. This is going back to March. You know, this is how bad it's doing. He lost against Mensah, came into the Challenger, beat Alexander Blocks. Marozsan's just about got a walkover against Lazovic, then got beat by Elmer Muller. And then you're talking Rinderknech, Bublik, big foe, straight sets, Gio and Justin Engel. It's not looking good for Roman Safiullin. It's not. But I've seen absolutely nothing from Alexander Muller on the grass, not only this year, but any season for that matter. For me to even suggest taking him at a dog price here, we do know he can be a bit surprising on the day. He got that title earlier on in the year. You can play some solid tennis. We've seen him hang in there with some real good players. We've seen him beat some good ones too, 19 and 16 on the year so far, as opposed to 9 and 14 for Roman Safiullin. Now, considering Roman Safiullin can barely win a game, and he is on a 6-game losing streak, I've got him, it's 1.57 for Roman Safiullin. This did open up apparently around 1.73. It's quite a gap, it's quite the jump, I know. Not too sure. Are we that certain? We're putting that much trust in Roman Safiullin. He got to the round of 16 here 2 years ago. I don't know. As for Alexander Muller, I don't think he's ever played here before. No, I'm right, he hasn't. I don't know, I feel like I don't feel right just saying Roman Safiullin, especially at that. It's sub 1.6. If that's going to make a decision for you, then I don't know. Then I don't know what to tell you. You approach it however way you want. I suppose we would have to lean towards Roman Safiullin. I just don't see. There's nothing to suggest Alexander Muller is going to turn up and look like a world beater on the grass. I've seen nothing in the past. Even in his previous games, he's on a 3-game losing streak as well. Felix Auger-Aliassime, Jakob Mensah, Alexander Bublik. He did win a set in the first 2 and then straight sets against Bublik. Probably not that bad when you look at the losses, really. I don't know, both of them could do with a win. You're getting one of them quite heavily favoured over the other in this, so you pay your money and you take your choice. I don't really trust Roman Safiullin that much. At any price, I don't. So we'll move on to Pedro Martinez and Moutet, probably the quickest one of the night for me. Head-to-head is 2-1 to Pedro Martinez. He beat him twice on the clay, 2021, 2018. Moutet beat this guy on the hard court on the Phoenix Challenger earlier on this season. And I can't help but think Moutet beats him again. As a matter of fact, you're getting the Frenchman around 1.2. Crazy odds. But when Moutet is a massive favourite like that, there's usually a very good reason for it. He's still a lot more trustworthy on the grass. We've seen Pedro Martinez. When you take this guy off the clay, he looks like a fucking claymation figure. And even with that being said, he went 6-11 on the clay so far this year. 2-6 on the hard, 2-1 indoors, 0-1 in the grass. Moutet 4-2 in the grass. Look, he just beat Taylor Fritz. We've just seen him beat Taylor Fritz. He had a solid match against Taylor Fritz. Kind of ran out of steam against Jacob Fernley. How's he going to hold up in this one? How will he hold up in this one? He didn't play here last year. He did get to the quarter-final here the year before. As for Pedro Martinez, first round exit last year. How much is he going to try and exert to get this one done against Moutet? 1.2, you're not going to go anywhere near it. You know me. Even though I am slightly changing my ways with Moutet, only slightly, I'm still not fully committed to trusting him with some cash, especially at 1.2. I imagine he gets it done. I haven't got much more to say on the matter, so we will crack on to Nishesh. Basavareddy versus Medjedovic. I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to see what Nishesh can bring on the grass. First time out, didn't look too promising against Nuno Bosch over in Den Bosch. I say it didn't look too promising. I mean, a tiebreaker in the first, and then it kind of slipped away from him in the second, 6-2. But he's come over to Mallorca, and he's looked a lot better. Flew through qualifying, Bottic van der Sandschulp in 3, and then Navone in 2. It's kind of always going to happen that you don't take Navone off of the clay, do you? 6-1, 6-4, so maybe that's not saying much. Hamad Medjedovic got beat by Adam Walton first time out over in Queens. Now, I didn't expect that. I imagine you didn't either. Tiebreaker in the first and then 6-2 in the second. Cause for concern coming into this? Not yet. I wouldn't have said so. I'm seeing Medjedovic around 1.6. I don't know. I think it opened up around 1.5. Call it 1.6 now. A little bit of cash coming in on the Ziyech. 2.5 I think he opened up at. That's sitting at 2.3 for me personally. I haven't seen enough. You know. We've played each other once before. That was back in the US Open. That would have been qualifying. Yeah, it would have been. That went the way of Medjedovic. Only just for the most part. And then he got a 6-1 in the third and final set. I think Medjedovic went 2-2 last season on the grass, 5-2 the year before that. We know how solid he can play. Like I said at the start, these surfaces are very, I'm getting mixed up. Maybe not so much this one, the one in Eastbourne. Forget about that. These grass surfaces are a lot quicker than what you'd expect. Big serves, so much power. He hits so fucking hard. He really does. Is that just going to be the deciding factor? I close my eyes, I picture this matchup. I see Medjedovic just blasting him off the court with pure power. You know what he's about. But I don't know, man. Like I say, I thought he'd have got past Adam Walton, and he didn't. And the Ziyech, he may be a little bit inspired to try and put a dent in this grass season. I mean, 2 wins for you. You've come through qualifying unscathed. You'll fancy yourself in this one. I expected to see Medjedovic probably at a bit of a steeper price, if I'm being honest with you. The fact that it's around 1.6, and you know, there's more as well. I don't know, it depends. You assess the situation near at the time with this and you see what the odds are. I'm not too sure. There does seem to be quite a little bit of trust with Ziyech in this one. I just have to go off what I know. If this was on the hard court, I would most definitely be taking Hamad Medjedovic. If we were on the clay, I would probably most definitely take Hamad Medjedovic. So, seems we're on the grass. It would only seem right for me to assume that Medjedovic would get this one done. But if Ziyech wants to turn up and prove me wrong, then be my guest. Be my guest. We could be in for a little overspot. I don't know. I don't want to poke the beehive with Medjedovic. He could win this in straight sets. I would be so shocked, very, very shocked, if he didn't win a set against Basavareddy. Anyone else? Is that just me? I don't know. Am I putting too much faith in Medjedovic here? I was very tempted to take him, but there's something putting me off, and I'm not too sure what it is. So I'm just gonna stick to my own thoughts on this. I would have to go with Medjedovic for the win. If he turns up and looks like shit, and gets swept aside like he did against Adam Walton, then so be it. But I wouldn't have thought so. 19-10 on the year as opposed to 14-13 for the American. Prior to qualifying for this, he was on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 game losing streak. You know, the last couple of wins I've got here: Otto Vertinen, Ramos Vinulus, and then Mitchell Kruger. Stan Wawrinka, Vic Capriva, Dinky, Collarini, Nuno Bosch. That's it. I feel like Medjedovic stands more than a chance at beating pretty much every one of them. I feel like he probably does on the day anyway. I don't know, it's not there nor there. First round, just a slight one for me. It would be Medjedovic or nothing. Might be able to get him at a better price come the morning. You never know. Just assess the situation near at the time with that one. We'll see what happens. And then these shouldn't take much longer. Actually, we've got Demir Juma out of Rinderknech. I'll be going with Artur Rinderknech on this one. If anything, I'm not going to be going with Artur Rinderknech, but that would be. I do think he's going to win this. I really do. What is the price? You may ask. 1.3, 1.28, 1.3. That is a very steep price, but that is the price you will indeed have to pay for Rinderknech today. Head-to-head is 1 apiece. Medjedovic beat him on the hard court last year, 2-1. Quite surprising. Rinderknech getting it done the year before that on the indoor court. Thought Rinderknech looked alright in Queens. Pulled off the upset against Ben Shelton, although Ben Shelton couldn't have looked more uninterested in that one. But it still stands, decent win. Solid against Rally Pelka. And he even looked good enough against Carlos Alcaraz. I mean, close as you like, 7-5, 6-4. Not too bad at all. Dzumhur is on a 2-game losing streak. Played just the 1 game on the grass against Pierre-Yves Herbert. And ended up pulling out of that one 6-4 and then went to 3-love in the second. And then Dzumhur pulled out. So we haven't seen him since. How's he holding up? Couple of question marks regarding the fitness of this guy. Rinderknech at 1.3, 1.35, extremely steep. But if he can stay behind that serve, if he plays like he did against Shelton and Pelka, I don't think there's much Dzumhur will be doing against this guy. On the grass, he's never done much in his career, really. 16 and 19 since 2008. 2 and 3 last year, 0 and 1 before that. Rinderknech, you know, a bit of a larger sample size, not the best record. 4 and 5, 4 and 6 previous years, 4 and 3 this year. I think he gets it done. Like I said, not a lot of conviction behind this one. Very steep price. I suppose I would certainly not be taking it. I would not be touching that on a parlay. Most certainly as a single. I mean, you don't need me to tell you that. But I would definitely lean towards Rinderknech getting that done. And then we've got Ugo Carabelli and Quinn. Oh, I don't know. Who do you think wins this one? I don't know who wins this one. I think it's probably, I'm not wrong in assuming Quinn probably should be getting this one done. He seems to be on the rise a little bit. Ugo Carabelli, I mean, we're not on the clay anymore. 0-3 in his career on the grass. He only likes the clay. No secret to us. Quinn, solid on the hard court, solid on the clay this year. And he looks like he's going to be fucking solid on the grass too. 2 and 1 to start. Got beat by 2, just about, in qualifying for Germany last week. But he comes to qualifying for Mallorca, beats Crawford, and then most impressively beats Vic Capriva, both in 3 sets. Scraped by him. Barely got by him. Maybe I'd have liked it to have been a little bit more convincing, but it doesn't really matter. He's still here. Ugo Carabelli, 3-game losing streak. Echeverry, Munar, and then Rally Pelka was the first game coming over to the grass. He didn't look that bad against Rally Pelka, you know. A tiebreaker in the first and then 6-4 in the second. That was a lot closer than what a lot of people probably would have expected, especially on the grass with Pelka. But he most definitely managed to hold his own there. You've got to give him some sort of credit. At first glance, I thought Quinn. Yeah. I've got him currently at 1.5. Something like that, roundabout. Call it 1.5. Is that enough? I think I'd need a little bit more than that. To entice me, I think. As far as the pick, it probably would be Quinn in this one. Like I say, he seems to be a little bit more about his game at the moment. Doesn't really seem to matter where you catch him. He's putting in solid records, all terrain. I'd fancy him to get this one done. Should be in great shape, should fancy himself for this. Like I say, happy with qualifying. Go and get yourself through the first round, mate, and assess the situation in the second. I hope he gets it done. I'd love to take him. It's an ideal parlay piece. That's pretty much more than half of it right there. 1.55. I feel like I could be tempted. I could possibly be tempted to find a way with Quinn today. I'm not too sure. I'll figure that shit out later on. And then we've got Gabe Diallo, Munar. There's something about this. Something fucking stinks in the garden about this one. It really does. You don't need me to tell you how good Gabe Diallo was in Den Bosch. Won the fucking damn title, didn't he? And then over in Queens, won his first round game against Billy Harris, just about. And then I feel like the fatigue may or may not began to set in. Either that or he just bumped into Yuri Lehechka, who was on a little bit of a tear this week. Straight sets in the round of 16. It all comes to an end somehow, doesn't it? He was on one hell of a streak, one hell of a run. Before that, you've got to Got to give it to him. Round of applause. Fucking Gabe Diallo, folks. As for Jamie Munar, I mean, got past Jordan Thompson. He had to retire and that. Dare I say he gave Alcaraz his best go last week in Queens? Either that, you think Lehechka played better in the final? I don't know. I think Jamie Munar looked the best against the champ. I really do. Do I think he's going to be Gabe Diallo? He probably shouldn't be. We are in Spain. He'll be more than inspired to get this one done. Although with that being said, he's never really done much in this tournament before. Back to back first round exits for Jamie Munar. Skipping one in 2023, but it still stands. Gabe Diallo has not played in this tournament before. No, I'm correct in saying that. Conditions will suit him. Obviously, with being the grass, he was fucking fantastic last week. He's clearly a decent player. He's come on quite a lot over the past season or two. But I don't know, man. You know me. Jamie Munar's a sleeper, man. He's so tricky to get a read off. Shit ton of money coming in on this dude as well. This opened up around 3.5. It's now 2.4 for Jamie Munar. There's a couple of factors come into play here, innit? I mean, is Gabe Diallo going to go all out in this? I can't see it personally, especially with Wimbledon round the corner. Now, I don't think Gabe Diallo is going to win Wimbledon, but he will most definitely fancy his chances of putting in a nice run after getting himself that title in Den Bosch. I would have thought anyway. Jamie Munar at home. He had a belter against Alcaraz, he really did. That's quite the drop in price. Quite the drop. I'm not too sure how much I can trust Gabe Diallo to get this one done. I know realistically he probably should, but it's one of them games, man. You can just see him dogging this one out. Jamie Munar's usually good for a set as well, you know. He's usually good for a set. I don't know. It's just food for thought. Like I said at the start, there's something fucking bugging me about this one. There is. You'd love to just take Diallo. It's just easy enough to take Diallo, especially off what we've just seen the past few weeks. Me personally, I couldn't trust it. That's quite the jump on Jamie Munar. And I, for one, don't really trust him that much, but there must be a rather good reason. For that. I suppose we'll see come tomorrow. But I suppose I wouldn't mind Jamie Munar plus that 2.5. Maybe it goes to 3.5. I'm not too sure. If it stays at 2.5, maybe just bite the bullet and take it. See if he can keep it somewhat close over in Spain. Probably his best chance at doing so, right? If he can keep it close against Alcaraz, I fancy him to keep it close against Gabe Diallo. You never know. Diallo just might be saving himself for Wimbledon, and you might just catch him in a bad spot here, so it might just be the kind of day to take Jamie Munar. And then wrapping it up, we've got Tien and Justin Engel. I can't wait to watch this one. I cannot wait to watch this one. These have never played each other before, obviously, two youngsters. Justin Engel 2 years younger than Tien. I'm seeing Tien around 1.6, something like that. Call it 1.65. I do not agree with that. And the same people are going to come and try and crucify me once again, and I do not care. Do your worst. I do not agree with that whatsoever. We ain't seen too much from Tien on the grass so far this season, 1 and 2. He just ain't looked too good. Not only on the grass, he's been banged out of form lately. You're going back to mid-April, and he still ain't getting wins. One against Rally Pelka, and then the retirement against Nishioka. That was the one win on the grass in Stuttgart, and he barely got past him. It was 2 tiebreakers, and then Nishioka just decided he'd had enough. Just listening to some of the losses, Talon Greek Sport, Marcus Gron, Elias, fucking Thomas Mahach, Nishikori, Zverev, Nakashima, Nicholas Yari. Barely winning a set along the way. Well, recently anyway, no set against Yari, no set against Binach. Maybe Tien just can't play on the grass. Maybe his game ain't really that suited to it as what everyone thought it may have been. Now, I haven't seen too much from Tien, so maybe it's not too fair for me to say. I've seen much more from Justin Engel the past few weeks, and not only have I seen much more of him, I've been very impressed, and I've been very clear in saying that after every single match. James Duckworth, Alex Michelsen, Roman Safiullin. Solid. He got beat by Felix Auger-Aliassime, Sebastian Afner. That's alright. That's all right. It is what it is. But the performance against Mickelson, I said before that, didn't he? He looked fantastic against Duckworth. He hits the ball very well, very suited to the grass, big serve. He's a dog. He's a dog. And you know what? While it's a first round, I'm just going to take him. I'm just going to take Justin Engel. I was thinking about it anyway. Yeah, I mean, you were getting him at 2.6. It's now dropped to 2.2, 2.05 in some places. I'm just going to grab it before it goes to split down the middle. If Tien just turns up and beats him, then so be it. I've seen nothing to suggest he is going to do so. I'll be trusting the German in this. I'll just have a little sprinkle on the German. Plus money, dog money there. See how he turns up. Like I say, if he plays the same way he did against Alex Michelsen, if you're going to do Alex Michelsen 6-4, 6-4, I think you can beat Tien. That's just my opinion. While that's that dog price, I'm going to have to take that. Like I say, it's nothing personal to Tien whatsoever. I know he's a good player. Both of them are very young. Just going off what I've seen recently, I just don't agree with him. Like I say, he opened up at 1.5. They fucked up a bit there, didn't they? 1.7 and climbing. I'd just go for Justin Engel now while you can. I fear if you sit off this, you'll wake up tomorrow and this may become a somewhat of a pick'em. Somewhat of a 50-50. Maybe it's already a bit of a 50-50. I don't know. While Tien's clearly favoured to get this one done, I wouldn't mind going against that. I wouldn't. I don't even think it's like a rare shout either. I imagine there may be a few people taking Justin Engel one way or another today. If you'd watched them the past few weeks, surely you'd fancy him against this current version of Tien. That's just the way I'm looking at it. You do with it what you will. And that will do us for tonight. As always, I appreciate you stopping by. It means a lot to me. I really enjoy talking to you every night. It sees me through. It helps me out more than you know. Get yourself involved, yeah. Get yourself involved. Best bets, predictions. If you are going to drop a little comment, keep it positive. The majority of you do. We've got one or two that like to float around the comment section like a bunch of fucking dementors in Azkaban, just sucking all the fucking joy out of everyone. But just try and ignore it, right? We continue to grow each and every day. You're going to get them. You're going to get them. Keep the Patronus strong and you'll be all right. What that's going to do is, folks, I'll be saying good night to you. You take it easy, yeah, you take it easy. You take care of yourselves and you take care of one another. That's the most important thing. Like the video, get yourself subscribed if you would. Thank you very much in advance. And all right then. And I'm going for pin comments. Go and have a look at that. Have yourself a good night. Best of luck to you. Let's go get that cash today. And I shall see you tomorrow.